Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to NMP Talk Show. And we're happy to have you joining us this evening. And this evening, we'll be chatting again with our special guest that we had last week, Sis Thandi Maqubela. And I'm also with my co host, as always, as usual, Figile Nkosi. Figile, welcome.
Thank you, Noah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the TikTok viewers as well. We welcome Sis Thandi again joining us on studio. Tell us a bit more, Noah. What is it that we will be talking about?
Yes. As our audience have tuned in last week, we had a conversation with Sis Thandi, and she took us on a journey from the midnight when she was arrested until she was thrown into prison. So this evening we're going to start from the prison, and she's going to also take us on that journey of how she managed the prison life for 3 years, and then during that prison she was going in and out to court. Yeah, we want to hear how she dealt with all of that. So as she explains or narrates her life of then, we can have questions coming from you as well. You can type them on the chat, and we'll see which question we'll take this evening. Otherwise, if your questions are very detailed, we'll leave that for our special show that we're going to have with her, an exclusive show that we're going to have with her in the nearer future. So, Sister Andy, welcome back to our show, and thanks for honoring us as well, to being on a show on the second shoot. Welcome.
Welcome,
Thank
Sis
you.
Thandi.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, for inviting me again. Thanks for everyone who's attending today. I'm honored.
Yes, take us through, Sis Thandi. Last week you told us you got arrested at midnight. You were sent to prison in Cape Town. Take us from there. What has happened?
Yes, when I was found guilty by the court, I was then taken to prison. I mentioned last week that I was found guilty, though I did indicate that I would like to appeal, but the court thought it fit that though I'm going to appeal, I must be sent to prison. So that's where I ended up that day. And yeah, it was frightening because all of a sudden things changed. And all of a sudden, the bond between myself and my children was just cut. I just left them in court. I didn't know what was going to happen to them because I drove them to court. I drove my children and myself to court, and there was just left with the car keys and my children. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So I had to go down the stairs. You see people in the maybe in the when you
In the
see
movies.
in the movie. So they call. So I went down the stairs. I went underground. That's where you are kept until the transport um, to prison arrived. Yeah. So people left, and then I waited for the transport. I was wondering what is happening to my children. What is happening? And
Mm.
yeah.
Yo, that must have been traumatic for the kids. And so, just briefly, who took them back to Joburg?
They didn't go to Joburg again. They
Okay, all
they
right.
they decided to stay in Cape Town to support me as I was going in and out the courts. It was a dramatic change to them. They left their friends in Johannesburg. Now they are in Cape Town. However, when my husband was still alive, we used to shuttle Cape Town Joburg. So Cape Town was not a foreign province to us, and Joburg was not foreign. So we used to shuttle
Okay,
both provinces.
okay.
So yes, yeah, here I was, mixed with other prisoners and or inmates. Let me put it like that. Um, waiting for, you see that big van you always see on the road, maybe freeway, making noise, like wee 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 wee
Yes,
wee.
yes, 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 yes.
And it's
Yeah.
the big one. I learned when I was in prison, the term which was used in Portsmouth was igoma goma. They termed it igoma goma. So you
Okay.
get at the back of that prison, of that goma goma, and then
Uh-huh.
it just reversed the High Court. Eh? There I was
Yeah.
peeping through the window and not free anymore. I didn't have freedom now,
Yeah.
and I was in Portsmouth.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
talking about Goma,
So,
mentioning about Goma
sorry,
Goma,
sorry, Sister.
yes,
Before we you're transported to Portsmouth prison, you're saying that you wanted to appeal.
yes, I did.
Usually, how long does appeal take?
There's a procedure. There are court procedures which are supposed to be done, informing the court that your intention is to appeal the conviction, and takes about 14 days, I think. Yes, yes, yes.
And you
But I
should
was not.
be inside, like you should be in jail by that time while you're waiting to appeal.
Not necessarily. The Constitution allows that you can appeal, you can apply for bail pending appeal.
Okay, okay.
You can apply for bail. Remember, when you're arrested, you apply for bail to be at home.
Yes.
So that's why, and initially, when I was arrested and my legal team applied for bail, then that's why I used to go in and out court because I was arrested but on bail.
Okay, all
Now,
right.
yes. So when now I was found guilty by the court, I did mention that I'm going to appeal. I was, remember last week we mentioned that the letter which came to the lawyer, remember last week I forgot about it. It
Yes,
says,
yes.
today I managed to
You've got
bring it
it. Okay, perfect.
because the letter from that lawyer, whom I'm not going to mention at the moment, I'm reading from it. It says, it is noted that your client, now she's writing to my lawyers, has been arrested this morning
Yeah.
for the murder of the late Mr. Maqubela.
Okay.
So, yeah, remember I emphasized that it was not alleged. It was like, so I realized even if I did have intention to apply for the appeal, no, go to prison. So yeah, I do read other cases that when you are convicted, immediately you tell the court that you are appealing, then you are sent home while waiting to be
To
sentenced.
appeal. Okay, okay,
To
okay,
appeal. So
okay.
it didn't happen in my case. It does happen to other people. However, there are people who mention to the court that they are applying for the bail pending. Yeah.
Okay.
So pending sentence, I'm trying to say, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. And then I waited for the transport. I was in prison. I was in Portsmouth. I was in Portsmouth, yeah. My
Okay.
first night, I didn't know what was happening. I was so confused. Maybe let us correct this. It's no more called prison. it's called it's called correctional
So
services.
it was it is now the correctional services, but then it was still prison. Am I correct? It
No,
was already a
it
correctional service.
yes, it changed the name 1998. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So tell us, what were the conditions when you now you were taken from court, you going back to being in the correctional service. Now you are inside the correctional service. What were the conditions there?
You know, of course, it's not like home. It's not a home. It's not a home, not at all. It's a different community. It's a total different society. I mentioned last week, like it's like you are buried alive, and the walls are cold. It's dark. There's nothing gloomy. There are no roses. However, I would like to mention that the correctional officials working there are so they are human beings.
Okay.
You know, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna get into this place and these people are going to mishandle me. And no, my head, I really praise the ladies working at correctional services. Most of them. Yes, we hear one or two negative things, but most of them, they welcome, they explain procedures because that's what is supposed to be done on admission. They explain procedures, and there are procedures to be done when you're admitted: your name, your address, date when you're, all those procedures. So, yeah, the ladies, they reassured. And remember, my matter was all over internet, newspapers. Sometimes I'm in that Goma Goma, the newspaper, Thandi Maqubela, and all that. So it was all over. So in prison, most of the people, if not all, were waiting for to see now this Thandi, because there are TVs in the in prison. They saw I'm coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was not nice. It was, not even 360 degrees, 400 degrees change. However,
Black
um
and white difference, eh?
Yeah.
yeah, black and white difference. However, you know, maybe I must mention, in the newspaper mentioned at some stage that Thandi turned to Bible, because now and again in court I will have my Bible, my daily text. I'll read. So media said they thought it's only now that I believe in the Bible. And no, that was not
Hmm.
the issue. What saying now is, like, I really prayed. I said, Jehovah, now I'm in a situation I never thought I would be. Be with me. No, just give me strength. Yeah. So when I'll feel down, and then I'll just pray. I'll mention all the Bible verses I believe in. Um, yeah, and it was not easy because there are different types of people. We are still awaiting to be sentenced.
Okay.
There are the shoplifters. There are people, drug dealers. There are foreigners. People are not from South Africa. All different types of people there, and it's another community. That's why I say it's a different community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while you're in prison there, do you share a prison cell, or were you isolated, solitary confinement?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. It was not solitary confinement. The first day I came, I went there, or I was admitted. I was in. It was a big cell with many people. I don't remember
Okay.
how many people were there, but more than 50 people.
In one
Here you are
room.
in one
Wow.
room. So here you are, from your comfort of you are alone in this bedroom. Now you share a room with many people. Yeah, yeah, all sort of things. Yeah.
How did it affect you, Sis Tandy,
So
if I can get to that? How did it affect you? Because I mean, you are
Yeah.
telling us what you went through and the strength that you were getting from your God. How did it affect you personally?
it did affect me. It did affect me because there was now a change of routine. Change of routine. I remember we came. It was in the evening, round about this time, and the correctional services lock their doors around about 3. They lock their doors, and later they tell me they double lock to make it a point. It's locked. So I came in when it was locked, and yeah, the moment I was in that cell, then they double locked. Those big keys. I realized now
It's
I
serious
am in
business now.
prison. Now I'm in prison. I can't phone. The phone is taken. Your mobile phone. I remember when I was still using those old phones, BlackBerry Bold.
Yes.
I think we need to. I think we need to let the audience know what year was this, because
BlackBerry
when you're talking
Bold. I
about
mean,
BlackBerry, some
the
of
new
the
generation
maybe
doesn't
the
know anything about BlackBerry itself. Which year
exactly
was this?
It was it was 2013 November.
2013.
20,
2013.
2013 November. Yes, I was still using. I thought it was top of the range, BlackBerry
It
or
just got
whatever
in.
Bold.
I remember BlackBerry was still new back in those days, eh?
Yeah, then it's everything of yours is
You're
taken.
revealing
Not
your age
Don't
there.
worry
You see,
about me.
yeah.
your mic.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Sister Andy.
Pardon?
We
Can you
can
still
hear
hear
you,
me?
Sister Andy.
Yeah, you can continue. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So your valuables are being taken, because now fortunately 2013, um the uniform of those who are not sentenced was not
Okay.
used. So I never used. They used the yellow uniform before your sentence. So I never wore that yellow uniform. I used to wear my own
Okay.
things, my own attire, my own
Clothes. Okay.
clothes. Yes. Yeah.
So
Otherwise, yeah, when you're sentenced is when then the uniform changed to navy
Okay.
blue and navy blue and white. So yeah, they take your fingerprints, what is your name, and all that admission procedures. Then yeah, we are allocated a place to sleep. It's not quite comfortable, but it's a place to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you share a shower.
With all these
You
50
share a
people.
toilet with all these
Wow.
people. Yes.
Wow.
But,
Yeah. So,
yes.
so, so now tell us,
Other
Sandy, you from home, you are used to your own routine. You know what time you have to wake up. You know what, if you don't feel like waking up, you can still sleep in. What was the change, and what was the transition? How did you transition to do that?
Yes, yeah. Your routine is thrown out throughout the window because now I remember I said this is a
Community.
new
Yes, yes,
environment.
yes.
So you wake up in the morning at about past 5, 6. You must wake up. You must wash. You must prepare. You must do that. Clean your area where you are sleeping. It must be clean. And at about past 7, 8, then the doors are open, must go out of the room to be
Okay.
counted. Because now they must count each and every person who is in the room so that they must realize, they must notice and note that the inmates are still, there's no
Missing.
inmate missing.
Okay.
mm.
Yeah, so you go out and you know, things haven't changed much from prison to correctional service because I remember, though it's a topic of another day, because my husband was in prison at some stage. He used to explain to me that, we used to go out and then we'll stand 2 by 2. We used to do that. You get out of the room and then 2 by 2 you stand, and then as you get you and then they count you, and then you get into the room again. So there are things which
So
haven't
so
changed
is this
from
where the
old
phrase
system.
comes in, eh?
Pardon?
Is this where the phrase comes in? Two by two, jail.
What are you trying to tell us now, Noah?
I didn't hear
I,
He
what
I
Noah
says
grew up
said.
knowing this
there's a
that
phrase
phrase.
when he was growing up,
Uh,
there was a phrase that said two by two, umthetho wasejele.
Yes, two by two. Two by two, you are counted, they count 2, 4, 6. You are standing in a
Sure.
line, they count, and then, yeah.
yeah.
There are restrictions, in prison. There are things, for example, a visitor can't come to prison and
Okay.
take photos. There are things which are not
Okay.
supposed to be done, and those rules
I'd
must
had
be
to.
must be adhered, even if it's a visitor from outside. But things like this we can talk about. I think
Okay.
there's no hassle. Mentioning about
Okay.
the correctional officers, the ladies, I said, they are mothers, they are nurses, they are psychologists, because they are like inmates as well. Then I remember the song which is being I think it's Asa saying, "Mr. Jailer, you're a prisoner too." So it
Oh,
confirmed.
yes, I know that.
Yeah, yeah. I think the person who's saying it's Asa. He's saying, "Mr. Prisoner, you're a jailer too. I'm in
We
uniform. You're
both
in
here.
uniform."
We are both
Yeah.
here.
So yeah, because they are there 24/7. They change shift, but they are
The only
there.
difference between the
I
two of you is that
Yeah,
they get the freedom of going outside at a certain time and coming back the next day. So that was the only
Oh.
difference between
yes,
you and
Mm.
the jailer.
yes, yeah. They
Okay.
are
So,
there
so,
all
so
the
now
time.
tell us, Sis
They
Thandi,
are there.
I mean, you are now like locked down, locked in. Let me just put it that way, if it's a right phrase. You are locked in. You can't do the things that you used to do. Any difference in terms of chores that you had to do, in terms of the things that you were supposed to do? Is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah. If I understand your question very well, I like to read. I like to. I was grateful that at least the correctional service permitted books, legally, that your family
Okay.
can bring books to read. So I used to ask the family, please bring me this book. It can be just a novel, it can be a newspaper. Newspapers 2013 was not like now where you Google most of the things. Please buy me the newspapers. I'll mention the name, the newspapers. And bring me some spiritual literatures, and they will bring. So I spend a lot of time
Okay.
reading, and permitted to bring
Okay.
the radio. They permitted to listen to the radio. So though I was in prison in the correctional service, I wasn't there, because all the time, if I'm not reading,
Okay.
I'm listening
Okay.
to the radio. So I was up to date about what is happening outside, the
So you're
weather,
preoccupied.
yeah, I was doing. And I'll put the allowed,
The
what you
earphones.
call this, the earphones. So I'll just put my and sometimes I'll just see people
It
fighting.
passes
I
you.
don't know what happened, because I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Mm.
I just
From the
divorced
real
myself
world to your
from
own cocoon, if we may put it that way, to say you were in your own
Mm.
space. You were not there,
yeah,
but you were in your own space inside with the other inmates. Now,
yes, yeah, and some
yeah,
yes.
Okay, tell us now then.
you can go now. Oh, sorry.
Now you're taking to court. Yeah. Now you're taken to court for a hearing. This is after 3 months, isn't it? Oh, your appeal.
Yeah, actually, the appeal. I don't. No, no, no. The appeal have no. Then you first convicted, and then you go to court and
Yeah.
to be sentenced. So it was after 16 months, actually. I think, yeah, because there were many other things which were happening in between. There was a trial within a trial. There were lot of other things which I'm not I'll put
Okay, so we'll
aside
wait for
for
that
my
for the
exclusive
exclusive show then. The details of that.
yes, yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, I was sentenced after 16 months being in Portsmouth. Then I was transported to
Sure. And
Worcester.
now tell me, Sis Thandi, you were going in, out
You
somewhere.
wait a
I
minute.
mean, how many
You
times was
take
this happening? Like going in and out of court?
Okay, yeah, that's another question which I can respond to. You know, Fikile Neo, I appeared before the court more than
More
100
than 100.
times.
sure.
More than 100 times. And remember, when you are in court, there are state witnesses to say, I mean, you did this. There were state witnesses. State witnesses were more than 100. When I'm saying state witnesses, people who wrote statements, yeah, whatever they wanted to say, they wrote statements. And I'm privileged that I do have those statements of people who wrote them. I am
Wow.
so I know
Don't, don't scare them. Don't scare them. Put them on a panic.
that, that's why
So
last week
you know,
when
what
people
boggles
were,
my mind.
yes.
What boggles me is, okay, 100 times that you're going to court. In that 16 months, and you have people who had statements. Where were they when the whole thing happened? That you are able to have 100 people to put on a statement to that works against you. That's just mind-boggling.
Neo, mm, I just want to be light on this. It reminded
Yeah.
me of the oppression period. You know, people were asked to write statements against your mother, against your sister, against your husband. So, and because of whatever which was happening, mm, yeah, maybe let us not talk about that, but
Mm.
people just were asked to write statements. Were asked to write statements. Others change statements. I know there are people who change their statements 3 times, 4 times,
But still, those
and yeah,
statements were working
people wrote
against you.
statements.
None of them were working towards you or to support you, but against you.
For you.
Yes, the moment you say it's a
It's
state
against you.
witness, it means because now the state is the state which is against me. First, I never used to understand. I'll go to court and see, let's say, let me give an example. I'll see Neo, and then I want to go to Neo to say, how are you, Neo? And then I'll see Neo shrinking, reversing, like,
I don't know you.
don't even talk to me.
We don't
And
know each other like that.
I don't know. And it would happen, over and over again. And I see this person, oh, this is my friend, or this is my associate, or this is somebody. And then I'll see the face changing. I'm like, oh, the statement. Until I get hold of the statement, then I realize, okay, so and so is going to come, so and so is going to come. And remember, when a person is a
It's a
statement,
state witness.
I mean, it's a statement, when the person is a state witness,
That witness.
To each
actually,
other.
you're not supposed even to talk to him or her, because now, just in
Yeah,
case you are
yeah.
you are influencing that person. It's
Yeah.
then that I realize,
Like
let
you
me
now,
cut.
now in terms of
Let me
trusting
cut because
people, because now you didn't know all these people that they turned against you. Now they became state witnesses. How did that affect the way you trust people today, if at all it did?
I don't trust a fly. That is my worry now. I don't trust a fly. I I count my words. Before I used to say anything, I'll just say never. I just go to town. Now
So it broke
I don't
trust
trust.
in people like
I don't
completely.
trust
Wow.
completely. It brought something, yes, there are people who, I mean, who are still genuine to me. And yeah, then I open up to those people, we chat, we talk with it. But otherwise, I'm talking even, I mentioned friends, relative, associates. No, I didn't mention relatives. I'm mentioning even some relatives, you know, because they will talk and so will come and say, so this person said this. Yeah. So as a person who's working there, you know what he used to say about you. However, like I mentioned, that I had to go through that phase of like, you know what, it's okay. My husband used to say human nature. These is people. These are human beings. And I'm not perfect myself. Maybe I've wronged them somewhere one day. They don't like me. But
Wow.
that
Difficult
was the
situation
situation.
indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I know situation that however, that's why I said one
Blackberry
bold, what is it
Bold.
called this phone?
Now, let's forget about
What is it?
ages. Let's talk
The
about
BlackBerry phone.
Blackberry Bold.
Yeah, one of my BlackBerry phone
No,
has
they're
about
not. They,
They're
I
not
500.
doubt if
sponsoring
they're
the
still
show.
there.
They are it had about 500 people, and maybe 10%, like we're like, okay, you still our friend. So yeah, it gave me space. I have space. I'm healthy. I don't have to get involved in many things. I have space. Before, because of many contacts, and I used to spread myself. So yeah,
Did it correct
correctional
you,
service.
even though you didn't need
Now
to
we
be corrected? But
Okay.
what did it do for you? Any positive that came out of it?
I don't think there was any
Corrected, yes.
correction. I didn't have to be corrected. And
Oh no.
no, I didn't have to be corrected. Actually, a lot of negative things which I observed
You
there.
cannot share that. We
Yeah,
understand what
I'm
you
not.
cannot
I don't
share.
want to.
Some of the things that you can't share, we are reserving it for the exclusive show. But what you can tell us about it, if there's any.
You know. This book, which was written by Frank Chikane, which
Yeah,
says the
yeah,
things
yeah,
that
yeah,
could not be said. So there are things
yeah.
that I
You will
cannot
never
say
say them.
at the
Yes.
moment. Not that I won't say them. Yeah, I will mention that because it's what was happening. However, I used to see the young ones. They were easily influenced by things
Yeah,
which were happening in the correctional service. There are many people who came better and then influenced by the
yeah, yeah.
negatives which are happening in the correctional service. Yeah. So it depends type of a person you are. And there are those who came, not okay, but I think because they discover
Okay.
themselves, they tend to good. Yeah. So
Break
prison can
you.
can
Oh,
make you,
that's
prison
profound.
can break you. But like, yeah, it can make you, it can break you. However, I'll say it did
You
make
were
me
before.
to be stronger than
Okay.
before.
And
Like,
just to recap on
yes,
that,
yeah. Because
did it make you stronger because you filled your head with basically you were building yourself when you were in prison. You were reading. You were reading your spiritual literatures, you were reading books, novels. We often hear that if you read, you become a better person. Even if you're reading a novel, you can improve your vocab. So, did you come out better because of your reading or because of the personal space you were given?
I think
Mm-hmm.
all what you have mentioned, all what you have, the space that I was given, I was alone. Last week
Okay.
I mentioned it was like I was on sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
When they said just go and study. So I just told myself,
Yes.
what I've never, because I'm an entrepreneur. I used to employ more than
Yes.
50
Yes.
people when I was arrested. More than 50 people. So I'm an entrepreneur. I come with ideas how to make money, how to help other people have to put food on the table. And so when I was there, I used to have a book. Then I will write. I will still be
When you
become an entrepreneur when I'm there. Actually,
mm, is it?
what I'm doing today, I planned. When I'm out, I will talk about my experiences of being. It was an opportunity. Now, Figile, you cannot ask officials, even the Minister of Correctional Services, to say, "Hey, may I
I
please
was
spend a week
yeah.
in prison because I want to? I'm doing a research." Yeah. So I was given a free research period to see exactly what is happening on the other side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I know exactly what is happening there. And
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm looking
that's why I
forward
say
to
it's
the
a
book.
story of another
I do
day.
believe that it will
Yeah.
detail everything that we cannot share on the show today. But now tell us, you mentioned last week that you got the opportunity to study law. Was it because of what you went through, or you just loved law in general?
You know what? I never loved, I never appreciated law, not at all. However, my husband used to say to me, "Why don't you study law?" Then listen what I would say to my husband. I said, "No, I don't want to study law to be told to reason like so and
True.
so." When lawyers are talking, they will say, "According to Nero, according to this case, according to the constitution, according to the case which happened wherever." I said to my husband, "No, no, no, no. I don't want to rely
You're
on other people's thinking. I want
you're
to rely
mentioning
on my
something
own
very
thinking." Because
interesting. You mentioning case references. Have you ever heard of any other case that you became the reference? Because your case was a huge case. It was everywhere. Have you ever heard of any reference in some of the cases? Ever since it happened, or we're still waiting for somebody who will go through similar situations.
A, a case
Yes,
study.
yes, something like
Reference.
that. Because, like she's mentioning that,
Mm.
according to a case, so and so versus so and so, this was were the outcomes. Is your case used as a reference?
you know what? Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I studied through UNISA, and there's this course. It's called CMP 3701, something like that. And before COVID, you make
Something.
an
Mm-hmm.
appointment
Mm-hmm.
with your lecturer if you don't understand some other issues. So I made an appointment with the lecturer. Then I was asking a question, and then
Mm-hmm.
he was just going to town. Very
Okay.
good professor. I'll mention the professor in my book. Very informative. And then she said. And then when he was done, I said, because in our
Mm-hmm.
module, the tutorial book,
State. Mm-hmm.
the Maqubela versus the state. So I
Wow.
said to the professor, this Maqubela is me. And then she said, what? I said, yes. So yeah, it is there. The
Use it as a
modules
reference.
is
Wow.
there. I
And
mean,
how does it make
Wow.
you
do
feel,
refer to
though? How does
Maqubela.
it make you feel seeing? Okay, before we get to how it makes you feel, on the cases, because most of the time it will be that whoever is using you as a reference because you've got a similar case. So, where do they win these cases or they lose these cases? In any outcome, how do you feel about it? Since now you have studied law.
I don't follow them when it's used. I didn't get. I haven't got
Okay, okay.
time to follow that. Remember, I just qualified. Um, I haven't, because if the case is read today, the outcome might even be up 6 months or a
Okay,
year or so and
okay,
so. So
okay.
I haven't followed those cases. Yeah,
Your cases
our
there.
our UNISA
Oh, that's
modules,
very
we do
interesting.
have my cases there. And yes, yeah, yeah. And one of the now I've forgotten this guy who wrote a book about fair favor. He wrote a book. He
Okay,
did mention my
okay.
case there. I met the writer of that book. Yeah, because meeting lot. I'm meeting.
Uh-huh.
I'm meeting a lot of writers now. Um,
Hey,
just to
now
direct,
we're getting
just
the
to
reminder
yeah,
that we are
yeah,
almost out of
yes.
time.
Is the
Over
right?
to you,
So
Noah.
Oh,
I'm actually wanting to change gears. Um,
yeah.
we spoke so much about the things that affected you adversely. Uh,
Mm,
they affected your children as well. But there's one question we've never asked, and I know when we were
mm-hmm,
preparing for this, we went through questions, just to make sure that we're okay. But this question is: we've never asked you how much you loved your
Oh,
husband.
yes.
We never asked you about your husband.
oh, yeah. Neo again. No one. No one. Let me repeat for the third time. No
The
one
way you do. Mm.
understood and knew my husband than myself. I love my husband so much. I know there are people who, when they were reading the news and they think they knew my husband. Let me be specific. It can be business partners, it can be comrades, it can be friends. They thought they knew him. They claim to like him. They didn't. I loved my husband. One person said to me, why didn't you divorce your husband when she was reading this and that? I said, it's because you didn't know him. Not even one person, even family members, understood my husband. I'm grateful to mention that. I'm not from a high flying family. What is it in
Mhm.
Sutu? I'm from a humble family. My mother, who passed away 6 months before my husband passed away, were so close to each other.
Mhm.
They with my husband, they understood each other. I love my husband so much because I understood him. I knew him. I knew his challenges. Other people who think they knew him, they didn't. And I loved him because he gave me an opportunity to be independent.
Mhm.
He understood that I was an entrepreneur. When I will say, when I'll say to my husband, I would like, I'm thinking of doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. My husband said, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know it's going to be successful. So that was the type of man he was. He was very humble, not high flying. Yeah, I love my husband now. I love him so much. And that's why openly I would say I don't have a lover now. He passed away a long time ago because he's still there. He passed away. I know
Mm.
he doesn't create any luck for me. He's sleeping. And I do
Wow.
believe my husband will wake up one day. I do believe. I love him because he gave me this future. He made me to be strong. That's my husband. Thank you, Neo, for asking that question. When you ask about that question. There's a question which was raised in court. It was intimidating. This one I will mention. I was asked, did your husband paid lobola to you? That question was asked. It was like, I'm
Mm.
arrested for this. Why are you asking me if my husband paid lobola? So there are questions which were asked, which were intimidating me, which were like, but I thought, the Bible says, keep calm. You must be calm. Yeah. So there are questions which were like not comfortable, but because I knew that I was gonna go to prison, so I said, let me
Mm.
be calm. Yeah, one day I will have a chance
Wow,
of
Sis
of
Thandi.
of talking about this. Yeah, and
And
yes,
we are so happy that
and
you've
it was
given
not
us the
easy.
opportunity.
I don't want to beat about the bush about this. The media was very harsh on me. The media was harsh on me. I can't
It's
mention that
over.
because there's nothing else they
There won't
can
be
do
any
now
double jeopardy
because
right
they've
now.
been so harsh on me.
Now, I wanted to
Oh,
find out as we're about to close our show, just to find out on you. You said you were reading newspapers. And your intention of reading the newspapers, was it because you wanted to hear what the media
yes.
is saying about you, or you just ignored everything that was said by the media about you and you focused on yourself?
No, I wanted to know. And one of my relatives said, you mustn't read, you mustn't give Thandi this. I said, you every week buy newspapers. I want to hear what they're saying about me.
Mm.
So I wanted to know what is this specific newspaper is saying, what is this specific newspaper is saying. They said a lot of things. And though today the media will expect me and maybe other people to be careful what you are saying. Why did you say this? There are so many things which were not supposed to be said, but were said. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
do meet those people. I mean, I chat to them because they are working for someone. They must earn. They must get some. They must make their bosses happy. So situation. I don't have any challenges with them. I meet them, we chat, and I don't even talk about the issue. And even most of the
I'll
time
tell
they
you.
try to raise it. I
Last
said,
question from Mrs.
let's have
Thandi.
coffee one
How
day.
are
Yeah,
you now? How are you feeling as we are having this conversation today?
I'm feeling, to talk is releasing negative feelings. It's releasing bad vibes within you. I'm feeling okay. I can be better, but I must still work on myself. Remember last week I mentioned
Marvin,
that
yeah.
um, Luther Luther mentioned that, yeah, Martin Luther, yeah. There's a time not to be silent, and I think I do agree. There's time not to be silent because if you are not silent and You are not talking bad about people. You're talking about facts.
With
That's
what you are
how
saying, that was
you feel.
said
So
by
I feel
Martin
healed.
Luther King.
Yeah,
I
I
think he
feel
got it
healed.
from the
Yeah, and
wise
I would
man
like.
who, the great author of the greatest book, who says there's a time for everything. There's a time to talk, and there's a time to be silent. So I'll echo that one. I'll echo that one.
Yeah, yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Actually,
And I
I
know
wanted
where,
to say
and
that
I know where
it's
he
time
got
to
that
talk.
from, eh? And I know
Mm.
where he got that from. He didn't coin it from
No.
his own. But in any case, that's a topic for another show. Sistandi, I know some people asked you a question on the poster that we posted when we advertising the show.
Yes.
What is Odi Alteram Patem?
Okay. I will. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, they asked me as well. One of my associate WhatsApp. They said, "What is this?" It's we all know that it's just a Latin word meaning that what you hear on the right, you must also listen to the left. You know, so like in my case, I mean, the first letter from the lawyer said Thandi committed this. Full stop. So from that day, people just changed. And I mentioned one of my best friends mentioned to me that Thandi, they say you are going to be arrested. Before I was even arrested. And then I said, "What did you say?" She said, "I said I will visit Thandi in prison." So all those things hinted, okay, I won't just be arrested, I'll be arrested to go to prison. So they were preparing my mind that I will be arrested to go to prison. Um, so yeah, that term,
It's
what
true.
you hear on the right,
Wow.
you must confirm if it's yeah, yeah.
So basically, listen
Someone,
to my side of the story.
yeah, listen to the other side of the story. Yeah, there are many people. One person came to me in prison, said, "I hear you did this and this, and then she went to town." It's a person I've never. It was the first time to see that person. She was saying, and she was saying something which was it's very hurting. Actually, to be specific about one of my children, he said, I understand this and this happened." Even today, I didn't ask that person. I will ask that person one day. I said, "You come to prison, you tell me this is what happened. I didn't know you, but you taking one side of the story. Why didn't you take the other side of the story?" You see, I don't mean I'm perfect. I don't mean I'm righteous. I'm perfect like any other people. But
Wow.
people just took that side and decided. So that term, layman's term, what you hear on the right, you must hear again on the left, so that
Correct.
you can use your own judgment to say, is
Wow, I've
this
learned so
the
much from
truth
you, Sis
or is not?
Tandy. I've learned,
Yeah,
as a parent, I've learned
yeah,
that I have to listen to every side of the story before I make a decision. You know, this is just me as a parent. But now I learn as a human being that I shouldn't take everything that is said about people. I need to understand both sides of the story, especially if I have to make a judgment at the end of the day to say, okay, I heard your side and
yeah.
I need to hear this side of the story before I can say, okay, this is my decision based on what I heard from both sides. Thank you very much, Sis Tandy, for giving us the opportunity and sharing your story with the NMP Productions. In closing, is there anything else you would like to share with us, or any lesson you would like to share with us?
In closing, I would like people to talk. I would like people to talk about what bothers them. I would like people to develop. I like people to be matured. That's why I'm involved in like talking uh, to people. They must. It's better to talk, discover yourself, unblock your mind so that you can understand people. It's not about me. Like I'm talking now, you ask me to talk about myself. Maybe other people can say, there goes again. But I encourage people to talk. Lastly, we many people are suffering. I don't know whether to mention this. Yes, let me mention that. And many women are suffering. Men, they're quiet, they don't talk. In my talk shows, I deal with a lot of women. We are discussing, writing about, one woman suggested, let's talk about ngibole amathumbu. Ngibole amathumbu. Because youth are sometimes not supportive to their mothers. Youth are not supportive to their fathers. Youth abuse their fathers and their mothers. I was listening now to the radio. Herman Mashaba's wife lost um, an aunt who was raped. Now, remember now, I don't know the truth. I don't know the truth. That's what I heard. I'm not taking a shot. If that is the truth, how can a young person go and rape a 70 something year old person? So people are being raped by children. So we're discussing ubole amathumbu wena or amathumbu waka awabonanga, because other people are being affected by their own children. Because there's their drugs, there's nyawube, there's all this. So these children really affect their parents. It's not only mothers, it's mothers and fathers. So bole amatumbu na. But if bole amatumbu, what can we do? Because I thinking, let
Wow,
us not
Sis
judge
Thandi,
these young
that
ones.
was so
Let us
profound.
help
Thank
them.
you very much for visiting our show, and we are looking forward to your book when it is published, and we are looking forward to your exclusive talk show where you are telling us the details, because we were just looking at it on face value. We want to hear the details about it. And Neo Morabedi, thank you very much from my side to giving us this platform to have the conversation with Sis Thandi. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Fikile, for holding that fort for
Technology.
me while I was struggling with my internet today. I don't know
Thank
what happened,
you.
but I'm glad I was able to
Yeah.
stay put and listen. Yeah, yeah. Don't think you have it under control. And thank
Yeah.
you, Sis Thandi, also for taking us on this journey that you went through. It was not an easy journey, but you were able to reach your destination with it. And that's why now you have experiences to relate to us, and we can learn a lot from you. And what specifically attracts me to your journey is how you're dealing with it now. It's a shattering experience, but here you are, risen up, very strong and vocal, and also very encouraging. So keep doing that. We need people like you to encourage us when we're going through trials and tribulation, different sorts, and having to see strong women like you, strong people that we can relate with, and we're able to talk to. And yeah, I think that's what really touched me about your story. I know our audience also would have loved to, express their appreciation on this and their questions. It's never too late. As we've mentioned, we're going to have an exclusive show with Sistandi. There you can even from now on send us your questions. If you probably you be struggling with your internet or anything else, but you can send us your questions and then we'll send them through to Sistandi. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining NMP Talk Show. We have these shows every Thursday, different topics that touch people's lives. So if you have any suggestions as well, we're more than open to entertain the suggestions on what to talk about. Please,
It's our
like
YouTube video. Please,
what do you call
viewers
it?
out there,
Now this load
please
shedding in my
subscribe,
brain. Our
comment,
channel.
and follow us.
Yes. Please like our
Do
channel.
everything that you can do.
Yes.
Support
And like
us on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Neo.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Sis Thandi, have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.